Said I've been up and I've been down.
I've always lived a life fantastic.
Said I've been played and I've played around.
I always landed on my feet.
There have been bumps along the way,
but I had to take my chances.
And other times when I so great,
but you were standing there to grace me.
With open arms you would catch me.
If ever I fall,
and with the same arms you would love me.
Whenever I call,
always there to forgive me.
If ever I fall,
standing at the ready to receive me.
Whenever I call,
sometimes the stakes seem so high.
We're going deeper,
and the love felt much lower.
You were afraid, it ain't no secret.
No grace from any man.
Why don't you quit while you can still quit?
And then you say, come take my hand.
That wasn't me, it was something holy.
With open arms you would catch me.
If ever I fall,
and with the same arms you would love me.
Whenever I call,
always there to forgive me.
If ever I fall,
standing at the ready to receive me.
Whenever I
say it again. With open arms you would catch me.
If ever I fall,
and with the same arms you will love me.
Whenever I call,
always there to forgive me.
If ever I fall,
standing at the ready to receive me.
Whenever I call, not gonna worry, not gonna worry.
Oh no, no, no.
Not gonna worry, not gonna worry.
Never gonna worry now, no.
Not gonna worry, not gonna worry.
'Cause you're always there.
Not gonna worry, never gonna worry.
Never gonna worry, no, no, no.
Don't worry about my lifestyle profile, it's just what I was made of. Disappointment or disapproval from the heavens, only thing I'm afraid of. I'm the nuisance child, grew up in the lowest tax bracket percentile with loud. So of course I'm bitter, got recourse for them hecklers who try to modify me. But if you can't control these streets, how can you get me?
With open arms you would catch me.
If ever I fall,
and with the same arms you will love me.
whenever I call,
always there to forgive me.
if ever I fall,
standing at the ready to receive me. TP, come on and sing.
with open arms you would catch me. If ever I fall, and with the same arms you will love me.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Always there to forgive me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Standing at the ready to receive me.
Say it again, say it again, say it again.
Open arms.
Oh yeah.
And with the same arms you will love me.
Come on, say it.
Always there to forgive me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Standing at the ready to. If ever I fall, whenever I call.
We are Mad Church Disease, helping you understand that Jesus plus nothing is everything. This is a show for everyone, believers and non-believers, from churched to the unchurched. Help us grow the channel by supporting our non-profit causes and create more consistent content. Donate by Cash App or PayPal, or buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com.
Okay, y'all let me know whether or not you have some sound. Let me see. I need to turn this up. Okay, I hear sound on my end. What microphone? Wait, what microphone is that? Oh, that's the wrong one. That's right.
Okay, can you guys still hear me? Okay, there we go. According to this, we should have sound. Okay, everybody, thank y'all so very much. Shout out to all of the members. I gave some shout outs to all of you. I'm going to do it again then. Shout out to Christine Parks, Melanie Rice, Moni No Love. What's up, Louis Franklin? K Rich, good to see you here. Yours truly, Sharon T. Leonard. Jai, good to see you here, Jai. Let me see here. St. James. Okay, good to see you here, St. James. Christine Parks. Sharon T. Leonard, Mari. Good. What up, Mari? Sharon Perry. Sharon, thank you for letting me know there was no sound. You and Londa, I think, were you and Jai and Londa were the first couple of people that made me aware of that. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. This is just the nature of the beast when you're doing multiple sort of things here going on. I'm going to turn this down so I don't get any feedback from myself. All right, good. All right. So y'all be patient with me because I am just getting back on the horn and I want to make sure that I'm able to do things. And you guys know I'm a little stickler for making things look nice and having things presentable for you guys. So thank you so very much. I am in my lounge around clothes today. I'm not dressed at all. I am frump and frumpy. And I am fine with it on the darn day. Okay. All right. Well, most of you may not know I spent some time traveling over the last week. What's up, Trey? Good to see you here, my friend. Good to see you here. And you guys know that I was traveling and I went and spent some time with my sister. It's probably going to be the last time I'm going to see her for like the next 4 or 5 months. I hadn't realized during the Christmas holidays, when I went to go see her during Christmas, I didn't realize it had been almost 2 years since her and I had actually laid eyes on one another, which is really tough. I'm the only person now in my immediate family that lives in California. So I'm here alone, if you want to know the truth. And so it has, well, I've got some, cousins and all of them, but, I ain't gonna call them criminals. I'm just gonna say I got some folks that do some stuff. And so I'm just, I'm by myself. So I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I love my family, all my family, including my Walmart pajama wearing folks that show up to Walmart in their PJs. I'm in love with them too. So don't get it twisted. And they love me. And so that is what it is what it is. All right. But I went to spend some time with her for the week and her entire house is packed up. She is going to be leaving very shortly. And I'm so sad. I'm really kind of sad and nervous about it. Shout out to K Rich for getting your membership. Thank you so very much, K Rich, for becoming a member. And so I don't even know how to describe it to you guys. I have a mix of emotions. This is really the first time that I've lived with none of my family members close by me, to where within a driving distance or whatever, where I could drive. And so I don't know. I can't really explain it to you guys. If you've never been in this position, I don't even know how to explain it to you, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. And thank you so very much. Whoever got a membership, Deion Sanders, I believe you was gifted by K Rich, and K Rich gave you a membership. So shout out K Rich for your membership, Deion Sanders, so you can come behind the scenes where I'm really gonna cut up. All right, anyway. So shout out to all of you. Thank you guys so very much. Now, normally I wouldn't even talk about this, but because I'm in front of my system now and I haven't been in front of this system for a while, let me address a couple of things. Let me address one thing. First of all, let me apologize to you guys for, I know K Rich likes when I get out of character and cuss everybody out, but I want to apologize because I kind of let myself get a little annoyed and a little pissed off during, you know, that, while I was gone with a whole bunch of mess, and I was inundated with a whole bunch of mess, and it just kind of got me frustrated. Not only did it get me frustrated because, at the fact that I was being inundated with a whole bunch of mess, when I was in the chat with Vincent, and I made a comment, some people sort of took my comment a certain kind of way, and it just went left, and I didn't expect for that to happen. And then I even had a couple of my moderators get a little testy with me. We'll call it testy. And I was like, oh, wow. I was just like swarmed with stuff. And I was like, this is getting on my nerves. Like, I'm supposed to be enjoying the time with my family, with my sister. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on here? And so, so I was like, fuck all y'all. No, I'm just playing. I was like, what the hell is going on here? But anyway, so I just got kind of pissed off. I really, really did. And I apologize because, normally I am a little bit more reserved and I have a little bit more control over that. Okay. But it was coming from every angle, and I was just tired. So I apologize to you guys for that. When I normally go off, it's going to be in the private chat, in the private group. I promise not to do that again publicly, because I had made a promise to myself not to let anybody disturb my peace, and I just will not be doing that. Okay. And I really mean that. I'm sorry that I'm exceptionally a very good commentator. I'm sorry that some people can't seem to deal with the veracity of my ability to communicate, and they are not able to exuberantly celebrate what I'm able to contribute to this here YouTube space. But let me, under no uncertain terms, tell you, you will never stop me from being the excellent person that I am. You will never stop or be able to outrun me linguistically, intellectually, or otherwise if you think for one moment I'm going to stoop down to your wheelchair-bound level. Lieutenant Dan, whatever individuals choose that they want to do, they can do themselves. But you will never be me. You will never be able to catch up to me, and you will never be able to understand the kind of work and the kind of stability that I have with this type of work, because I've been doing it for so long. All right. And so I'm going to end my comments there with that individually, and just shout out all of the members and just let you guys know we are up to about 17,400 and something subscribers. If you have not yet hit the like button, please make sure you do so. If you are in the bushes and you are scared, no one knows that you're going to hit the like button, go ahead and do that, because it is most certainly something that we will appreciate around here. Let me also say to you all, I have heard through the grapevine, I don't know if this is true or not, I just heard that there are some people who are being pushed up against the virtual bulletin board or the virtual wall for going into other individuals' chat and supporting their channels. Let me just simply say here, I am going to treat you like the adult that you are. I have expectations for you to remain respectful as much as I remain respectful. I do have some ground rules over here, and I need to reiterate those ground rules for just 1 minute. If I don't mention a person's channel in my chat, you don't mention them either. If I don't actually put a link to anyone else's channel, you don't do that here. We don't announce in my chat who's going live and who's about to show up live. Those chats are to be immediately deleted. And then if anyone comes over and is tremendously disrespectful, you are just simply to block and delete them. We are not going to deal with trolls. We are not going to deal with meatball heads. We're not going to deal with any of those kinds of people. Shout out to Lori Coleman. Thank you so very much for becoming a revolutionary. Remember, we're not going to deal with any of those types of people over here. This is a different kind of space. This is my space. This is your space. So when we are over here, we are to be comfortable about talking about whatever it is that we want to talk about. We are all grown-ups here. I am not in control of your life. I'm not in control of what chat you go into. I don't care if you watch all of those other content creators. The only thing that I care about is that when you come over here, you are respectful to me and that you are respectful to each other. That is all I care about. You can get upset with one another just as long as you guys remain respectful. I'm good. That's all I'm saying. Now, I do have some moderators, and these moderators, will take care of you, and they have full authority to boot you, delete you, and we're not going to do any more of this timing out. We're not going to do anything like that over here. We're just going to get rid of you. Because we are all grown-ups, and there's millions of people in the world. We do not have to tolerate foolishness. All right. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let us get ready to enter into our program tonight. I need for you to settle in because I have a lot of things to cover, but I'm going to try to skip around these documents. I promise to not read the entire documents. I want you, if you have not saw the reading of this entire document, you can do so on the St. James channel. St. James actually read through this entire document, and I'll put a link to his reading of these documents in the description below, and you guys will be able to watch him go through this entire document. It will not be me doing so. Lynn Pearson, shout out to you. I miss you. I miss having my conversations with you. And I'm just going to tell you, since I don't have your number, I got to tell you here. But hello, Lynn Pearson. Okay. All right. But because Lynn, you are my mind. You are my memory sometimes because I can't remember all of this stuff. Lynn can remember everything, and I don't be remembering everything. But hello, Joshua. Good to see you here, my brother. We have a lot to cover. Now, I'm going to talk to you guys tonight in a way that I have never talked to you guys before. Before I get started with this conversation, I'm going to ask a few of you who have ever been adjutants, who have ever been pastoral assistants, who directly worked next to your leader, to your pastor, to your apostle, to your potentate, whatever you want to call it. I want you all to be prepared to come up here. You can come up here tonight off screen, and we need to have a real conversation. I'm going to talk to you about some personal stuff, but we're going to get into some things because I have finally been able to look at Duane Youngblood in a different way, and not in a good way. And I'm gonna share some things with you guys tonight, because when I read this last filing, it really sent off some aha moments in me. And I know I have not heard anybody speak about this the way that I'm going to talk about this tonight. I'm gonna try not to get emotional with you guys, but I do want to let you know I am drinking my wine spritzer. I call this is like a wine cooler to me. But I am drinking my wine cooler. And so we're going to see how this goes on tonight. Y'all know I don't like crying on no camera, so that's probably not going to happen. But anyway, let me just start off by saying and addressing Duane Youngblood and Richard Youngblood. Before I do that, let me just say, because I don't want to stop. Once I start going, you guys know I hate to stop to ask you to hit the like button. I put a poll in there so y'all can hit the like button. So make sure y'all hit the like button so we can just keep everything moving. All right. Okay, good. All right. Now, before I do that, before I get into this tonight, before I go, because I know y'all know once I start, it's going to be hard for me to stop. If you are interested in supporting the Mad Church Disease channel, you can do so with support of $12 or more tonight. Please make sure that you do that. The Cash App information is on your screen. That enables me to continue to make content and continue to do what I need to do. Tomorrow morning, which will be tomorrow afternoon for some of you, we're going to start to do our hot topics again. I'm going to be talking about various subjects tomorrow afternoon, including Leandria Johnson, and we're going to go into a whole bunch of stuff tomorrow afternoon. And then tomorrow night, we will do our regular program, and we'll just talk about whatever it is that I choose to talk about on tomorrow night. So if you are supporting the program, please make sure that you do that. If I can get at least 10 of you to do $12 tonight, that would be very beneficial and supportive to the channel. I need to replace one of the lights, which is right here. This is an LED light. This light stopped working. I want to get a plug-in light. I don't want to get this light anymore. Because Daryl told me that I could get a different battery, but I told him that this light ain't even working no more. So I don't even know what to say about that. But anyway, and then so I'm doing my announcements. So we're working on the light. So I'm going to get a new light. Also, I'm going to be working and emailing the text company to start our tech stuff, because I'm going to need to set up the commercials. So we'll be able to run our commercials so you guys can subscribe to all of that stuff. All right. So boom, boom, boom. I think I got it done with everything I need to say as far as that's concerned. Can I take that off the screen? Yes, Lord. Okay. All right, thank y'all so much. Let's get started. We got a lot to cover, so y'all settle in, because it's gonna be a bumpy ride here in just a minute. Shout out to Daryl Moore, the cigar vlogger, who is responsible for helping us see a lot of things clearly in this social media space, and so I appreciate Daryl Moore as well. All right, you all, let's get into it. Let's get into it. And I am going to take a bathroom break at some point. So y'all just settle in. I want to first of all address Richard Youngblood as well as Duane Youngblood. I want to first of all start off by saying I have a profound new disrespect for the two of you. After reading this last filing and going through this last filing, mulling over this last filing, I can clearly see that you two for who you truly are. It is disheartening to those of us who have been in leadership, who have been in pastoral roles, some of us who have been adjutants, some of us who have been pastor's assistants. Shoot, when I was doing it, there wasn't even no name for it. You were just the pastor's assistant. They didn't call you no adjutant. They didn't call you no armor bearer. They didn't call you none of those things. Shout out to K-Lock for your support of $12. I appreciate your support of the channel. Let me just simply say this. When I looked at these documents and I actually read these documents, what's up, Neek? What I found are two disgruntled men who are working tirelessly to affect the reputation of someone who was already being beat up in the media with his attachment to P. Diddy. I think that you and your co-conspirators got together and decided that you would capitalize on this man's name being dragged through the mud. Now, I want to be clear again, for those of you that are unfamiliar with my channel. I am not a TD Jakes supporter. The name of my channel is called Mad Church Disease. It is called Mad Church Disease because I believe that most Christians suffer from mad church disease. What is mad church disease, ladies and gentlemen? Mad church disease comes from mad cow disease. Mad cow disease was something in the early 90s that began to affect the neurological system of cows that would seep into their brain, and then it would start to affect their ability in their neurological system, so they couldn't stand up on their own four legs. And most Christians have mad church disease. It is a disease that affects the brain, that gets in your neurological system, that does not allow you to stand up on your spiritual 2 feet. You do not have any convictions about what it is that you actually believe, and you cannot give to every man a reason for the hope that you have. and make it make sense. Our dilemma amongst Christendom today is that we are not able to have discourse and conversation that elevates our thinking and does what the apostle Paul taught us, to move past the elementary things of the gospel so that we can get into the meat of things. We are constantly and consistently, pulling up our chair to the nipple of church and sucking off of the pastor's tit in order for us to feel like we have been nourished and we have been supplied something that the Holy Spirit should be actively and engaging in our lives to fulfill that need. For the Bible says that it is the Holy Spirit's job to lead us and to guide us into all truth. It is not your apostle's job. It is not your bishop's job. It is not your first jurisdiction job. It is the Holy Spirit's job. And part of my issue, and one of the reasons why I came back to YouTube, is because I realized that most Christians do not have a personal relationship with the Holy Spirit. Now, we all claim to be Christians, yes, as tarnished and as varnished as we are all marred. The Bible says that when Jeremiah went down to the potter's house and he saw the clay that was in the potter's hand, he saw that it was marred. What it means to be marred is to mean there is a level of imperfection. There is a level of imperfection to all of us throughout Christendom. Nobody is perfect. All of us have something that we are working on. Some of us are working behind the scenes and our sins are hidden from other people. Some of us, our sins show up in a big belly. Some of our sins show up because you doing certain things. We'll just leave it there. I'll leave it there. I started to go somewhere, but I don't want to alienate folks. There's all kinds of ways that the tradition of church tells us what is a sin and says what is sin. And what I find increasingly interesting is that we unfortunately pick and choose the sins that we will let folks get away with and the sins that we will tolerate. Y'all go ahead and let me just take a sip, because I'm telling you, I'm already on my way somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, when I read these documents by Richard Youngblood and Dwayne Youngblood, I have to say I was completely disgusted once I actually read through the documents. And one of the reasons why I became very disgusted is because I was able to recognize in the theme or woven through the tapestry of all of these interconnected stories and lies, I was able to decipher and pull from these documents something that the average Christian or the average person who works in church would not be able to pick up on. And let me tell you something else while I'm on this subject. You all will hear me a lot of times say, don't question me when I speak to you about certain things in this institutional church. Because if you have not walked in the places and the spaces that I have walked in, you are unfamiliar with what goes on behind the scenes. If you are a pastor or a leader or an apostle and you are in the chat, I want you to put a 1, or you have worked next to a bishop or a pastor as an assistant. Please put a 1. Uncle Fred, you should have a 1 in the chat, because I know what you used to do. If you have been a person who has assisted a pastor or a preacher or been a preacher in the church, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. Thank you, Jesus. I'm seeing some 1s. Shout out to Fred, Jai, P, Irene, Daryl, Miss Erica, and Derek Jefferson. Thank you all so very much for your 1s. Moni, No Love, and Gerald, etc., etc. All right. Now here's where I'm going, and I'm leaning on you 1s in a minute. And the reason why I'm leaning on you 1s is because what I'm about to say to you should hit home with you in a minute, because I'm about to uncover something that I swear to you I did not see until I read this last filing. Okay. Dwayne and Richard Youngblood's entire story is based upon a 1986, according to Dwayne, situation that happened to him at the home of Sister Giles. According to Duane Youngblood in his original filing, He simply said that he was driving TD Jakes around, whether it was from a birthday party, whether it was from some sort of meeting. The story changes with each filing. Don't hold me to that because I'm not Duane Youngblood and I'm not making up these lies. So don't quote me per se, because I'm just telling you peripherally what we have heard and what we understand. He drove brother Bishop TD Jakes to Sister Guy's house. They sat down and they began to have an intimate conversation about the things that he expressed in his childhood. Thus far, we understand that he knew some things about his father and his sister, and there were some other things that possibly might have went on in their home. He expressed these things to TD Jakes, and he began to emotionally divest himself of all of these things. When he was done with telling those things, he states that he realized that the time had gotten so past him that he needed to get up and he needed to go return his car to his mother. Keep that in mind. He had to return the car to his mother. And he got up from the table. TD Jakes met him around the table, grabbed him, and hugged him. And as he was hugging him, he tried to kiss him. I want to take a moment of pause here for just a moment and tell some of you who are unfamiliar with church and church culture. Because see, this is another thing that a lot of you who are not Christians, who are outside of the Christian community, who may not know this. When I was growing up in church, it was customary that every time we entered into the house of the Lord, or we ran into another brother or sister in Christ, we greeted each other with a hug and also a kiss. You may not understand that. You may think that's far-fetched or that's not understood, but that is exactly what we did. One of the reasons why when you come into the house of what they call the house of the Lord or the house of God, when you walk into the house of God and you greet your brothers and sisters, you are to greet them with a hug and a kiss. That is normally what we used to do. Let me be very clear, ladies and gentlemen. I am not saying that TD Jakes tried to kiss Duane Youngblood with a holy kiss, nor am I trying to say he kissed him on the cheek. I'm not trying to tell you that because I wasn't in the room. I believe that this particular story is as far-fetched as Once Upon a Time in the Reading Rainbow. This is some Reading Rainbow stuff. This is a bedtime story, but it is a hodgepodge of bedtime stories and situations that have happened. And I'm going to explain to you why that is. And we're going to get into it in a minute. Oh, yes, we are. I have spoken to my other brothers and sisters in Christ who have been leaders. I have gone over this and discussed this with them, and we all have come to the conclusion that what we have with Duane Youngblood and Richard Youngblood are two disgruntled men who saw another person in their reformation who became quite successful, and it infuriated them because of past experiences that they had with this particular person. And I'm going to tell you and show you within these documents how we can come to this conclusion, because there is some stuff in these documents that clearly outline for us the nature of the relationship between Duane Youngblood and Richard Youngblood and Bishop Jakes. I will get to Tim Anderson and all of that in a little bit, but come on, let's take our time and let's walk through this. First of all, let's address Duane Youngblood. In 1986, ladies and gentlemen, I don't personally know how old Duane Youngblood was. Based upon all of these documents, we don't even know how Duane Youngblood was, because Duane Youngblood don't even know how old he was. Some documents say 16, 17, 18. Some of them even say 19. We don't know. So if Duane Youngblood don't know how old the hell he was, I don't know why the hell you want the rest of us to know how old he was, okay? We will just simply say that the man was between the ages of 16, we'll go as high as 19, okay? If that don't fit your scenario, you do what the fuck works best for you. I'm just telling you what's working best for me in this scenario, because I know who I'm dealing with, and I'm gonna break it all down for you, because what I'm about to share with you, most of these content creators have not talked about, because they can't talk about it, because they've never walked in the shoes of an adjutant, an assistant pastor, a pastor, etc., etc. Okay, so don't test me when it comes to these types of things. Be respectful to me when it comes to these types of things, because you don't know half the time what we've experienced behind the scenes when it comes to being a pastor's assistant. And some of us, when it becomes a pastor or an assistant pastor, if you've never walked in those shoes, close your mouth when you come up into my chat and just be respectful to me. I do not always think I know everything, but I know this. And I will repeat it to all of you a million times. You don't know church like I know church. And I'm not trying to out church anyone. I'm just trying to tell you, if you haven't had the experience, you don't know what you're talking about. All right. And you can get mad all you want to. It is what it is. Moving right along. For all of you that put those ones in the chat, I know you know, and therefore I'm leaning on you guys tonight to make sure that I stay on track, and I'm on track here. All right. Dwayne Youngblood was a fairly successful pastor in the Hugga Gugga Church, higher ground, always abounding assemblies of God, or whatever the hell the name was, because, you know, they just make this stuff up. But, you know, higher ground on the assemblies of the side of the mountain, on the side of the road, which is where they should have left Dwayne Youngblood, whatever. I just simply call it the Hugga Gugga Church. Okay. Period. Okay. All right. Duane Youngblood was a very merely successful pastor. He had a congregation of individuals. Yes, he did. He was not a complete flop or failure. He was somewhat of a success in his denomination, in his organization. But here is the problem with Duane Youngblood, ladies and gentlemen. Duane Youngblood was a man who could not control his appetites. He could not control his desires and his nature, and he allowed his nature and his sexual proclivities to get the best of him, which caused him to become a two-time sex offender that had to he had he became a two-time he became a tier 3, but a two-time assayer of young adults, which landed him in prison. Not once, twice. From my understanding, he served a total of 9 years. Okay, 9. From those of us who understand, let me be very clear. 9 is a number of birthing. So I guess with him getting out of prison, he thought that he was about to birth himself a new life and a new new ministry, etc., with this bedtime story that he and his brother and his co-conspirator and all of the people who wrote these affidavits. Let me be very frank with you, ladies and gentlemen. If you repeat a story long enough, sometimes it can get into your psychosis where you will believe what you were saying. One of the things that my mother used to tell us when we were children and we were growing up, my mother would often say to us, Marcellus, the worst thing you could do in the world is believe your own lie. Take a breath. My mother used to say, Marcellus, the worst thing you could do is to believe your own lie. Now, I'm going to stay out of the chat for now. If you have a question, make sure you leave your question at the end or when I take a break and a breather so we can get to your questions. Now, which taught me as a child that making up stories and telling lies was not going to be very beneficial to me. First of all, because as a man, I'm just not good at it. That's why I don't know why a whole lot of brothers spend all their time lying to women, because women are way better at lying than we are. I'm gonna just be right. I'm gonna be honest. Women are way better at it. They are skillfully when it comes to telling a lie. A woman, listen, men may tell more lies, but women tell better lies. So let's be clear about what I said, and you can write it down. Men may tell more lies, but women tell better lies. And I take my hat off to every woman that is in this chat, because y'all are good. We are not as good as you. Men, when we cheat, We cheat with the woman that lives next door or across the street. When a woman cheats, she cheats with a man that lives across town and around in a whole nother place. You will never run into him. You will never know he exists. You will never know what's going on, because women cheat in a whole different way. They lie in a whole different way. Okay. It is what it is. I trust me. It is what it is. What we can clearly see with Dwayne Youngblood and Richard Youngblood is a crafting of a set of lies and inconsistencies, in my opinion, that have led us to today. We have had all of these filings. We have had all of this paperwork. We've had all of these things. And yet and still there is on the end or the tail end of this filing, some new information that has emerged for us, ladies and gentlemen. And we must discuss this new information. But before we discuss this information, let me simply say this. In 1991-92, and at the middle part of 93, is when TD Jakes's stock or his name began to reverberate throughout the country. Really not even in 93. And let me tell you, for those of you that have not been around or don't know church like this, let me explain something to you. TD Jakes did not become famous until he encountered Paul and Jan Crouch, who gave him free airtime on TBN until he could get to the place to where he could afford it. Paul Crouch was so impressed with the message that he heard TD Jakes preach at Carlton Pearson's church. And it wasn't even on the Azusa stage. It was the night, a couple of nights before the actual Azusa conference started. It was a message entitled Behind Closed Doors. I remember it like it was yesterday. That message is what catapulted TD Jakes to fame. Paul Crouch happened to be at home and he happened to be dealing with a personal matter. He turned on the television and he saw TD Jakes preaching. And when he heard TD Jakes preaching this message, it so impacted him that he reached out to Carlton to get in touch with Bishop TD Jakes. What some of you may not be aware of is that TD Jakes was on TBN in the beginning and it did not cost him a dime. Okay, Paul and Jan Crouch put TD Jakes on television for free. How you know this, Marcellus? Because guess what? When Clarence McClendon first went on television on TBN, he went on for free. Because of the potential that they knew that he was going to have in order for him to continue to pay the monthly bill. They put him on television for free. They put the infrastructure in place in order for him to completely support the ministry and be able to pay TBN their fees that they were going to eventually get from him. And that's how he became famous, ladies and gentlemen. When we were all traveling and going around the country and talking to preachers and dealing with people and stuff, we would tell people, y'all don't understand. TD Jakes has a storefront church. People would laugh at you. That's no way possible he could have a storefront church, an old raggedy storefront church. TD Jakes did not get out of the storefront church, ladies and gentlemen, until he moved to Dallas, Texas. He was in a storefront church. Now, that was relatively very quickly because once you go on television, the money starts pouring in. Ladies and gentlemen, understand something. I don't make these things up. I'm just trying to tell you how things transpire. Also, you need to understand, if you are unfamiliar with church culture, and I'm doing this for the people that are in the chat that just don't understand these things. The only two black men that were on television nationwide at the time that TD Jakes became famous was a man by the name of Carlton Pearson and another man by the name of Dr. Frederick Casey Price. Those were the two black men that were nationwide on television. If you hit Carlton Pearson's stage at any particular point in time in the early 90s up until you were going to get speaking engagements and you were going to be traveling the country making higher honorariums because you hit his stage. At one particular point in time, Carlton talked about the fact that people would pay him. There was one man that offered to pay him to come and preach, and Carlton took the money. and just to let the man preach, because he knew that the man knew he was going to be able to preach all across the country. Every major Christian person that you see on television right now was promoted, came to national notoriety, and became a household name because in most cases Carlton Pearson put them on the stage. Don't get me to calling names. Bishop Idahosa, Michael, what's his name? It's not what's his name? Oh God, I can't even think of all the names. Clarence McClendon, even Bishop Marvin Winans. Let me think. Joyce Meyer, you name it. Michael Pitts, I think that's his name was. Michael Pitts. You name it, they were there. Juanita Bynum, every single person that you could think of today that is mainstream in today's world crossed Carlton Pearson's stage, and they became famous, and a lot of them became very wealthy. Brian Keith Williams, from what I hear, he's been in some people's chats running off at his mouth. Brian Keith Williams was another one of those persons who became quite successful and began to have national notoriety because of Carlton Pearson. Now, what amazes me is that when Carlton Pearson did what he did, everybody began to distance themselves with him, and they could no longer associate themselves with him. And that just goes to show you how people think, because you can disagree with a person without being disagreeable and being mean and the way that the church treated Carlton Pearson. I'm just going to say that, period, point blank. I didn't agree with everything that Carlton Pearson did and said, but I love Carlton Pearson. I will never dishonor Carlton Pearson ever in life, because what he stood for in this country is he showed us that a black man could lead. He could be smart. He could be talented. Every time Carlton showed up, you heard what I said, Shardy Shar, Bishop Michael Pitts, every single person that that is primarily popular in today's society crossed Carlton Pearson's stage, got speaking engagements, and that's how they were able to build their ministries, build their stuff, all of them. Okay, so don't get me started. I forget the message that Brian Keith Williams preached that made him famous, but I don't even remember right now. I don't even remember. Shout out to all of you that are hitting the like button. You're getting an education tonight, because I told you I'm not new to this. I'm true to it. But when I started reading these Duane Youngblood documents, something hit me. Coming from moving up and going through the Holiness Church of God Incorporated, as I did, I grew up in what they consider to be our headquarter church. At the time that I was growing up, from what I understand, we had between 50 to 100 churches. From what I understand, they said it was 100 churches. At the time I was growing up, our bishop was in his 90s, okay? We always let him preach at the convention. Why we did that, I don't know, because we could barely understand a word that was coming out of his mouth. Literally, he would walk up to the mic, and we'd have to sit there and pretend like we could understand what he's saying, because he come to the mic just saying, hallelujah. You ain't understand a word he said. And that's what they did, right? So that's what our bishop did. So growing up in the church, at the time I grew up, and there's a reason why I'm telling you all this, because I'm about to break Duane Youngblood down. Dwayne and Richard, I see you. I know exactly who you are, and I'm going to break it down. Let me share something with you. When I was growing up, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, if you don't understand church culture, you don't understand the fact that, back in those days, those were the days when we had testimony service. We did all sorts of things. And if the bishop or elder or one of the deacons or somebody thought you was lying or you wasn't telling the truth, they would tell you to sit your ass down. Did y'all hear what I said? You could be right up in the midst of your testimony, and if you was lying and somebody felt that you was lying and you wasn't telling the truth, they would pull your coattail, and sometimes they would come to the microphone and they would tell you to sit your ass down. Okay. Now, with that being said, can I just talk about myself for a minute? When I started serving and worshiping in my church, our bishop at the time, we had just signed up. We just got a new bishop. He was a wonderful man of God. I served Bishop Sherrod, probably to the time I was 18 years old. From between the time I was like 15 to 18, you could call me and well, I guess it would be now you would say it was an adjutant. Okay. Okay, because y'all got all kinds of names for stuff that we didn't have back in the day. So everywhere he went, I went. If he was traveling up the coast of Virginia, South Carolina, now North Carolina, he had some little speaking engagement or wherever he was going, that would be me. We would get in the car, and there was another brother that would travel with us. His name was Jonathan, I believe. My memory serves me right. Jonathan was older than I was, so he could drive. At the time I was traveling, I didn't drive at all. So it was me, Jonathan, and the bishop. We would always be traveling with the bishop. Now, let me just say this. If you are an adjutant or you are serving your bishop, normally, can I say, I'm going to just say it like it is because I'm sick of this. You work behind the scenes. So you are able to see all of the evil. You are able to hear all of the evil, and you are able to know all the evil. Listen to me carefully. If you are an adjutant, when your bishop or your first lady or whomever you're serving at the time takes off their clothes, you see them take off their clothes. Now, normally, if for the women, I'm assuming that you would see your first lady. She's going to have on her bra because she's got to get out of all of her sweaty garments, or you are there to assist your leader. That's what you do. Okay. So if your bishop took off of his sweaty shirt and all you saw was his nipples and his chest, that's what you did. If he sweated down to his drawers and he needed to change his clothes, that's what he did. That's what goes on, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't rocket science. Okay. So when he comes out of the service at the end of the service to greet you and hug you, and he has on a dry shirt and he's all crisp and clean, it is because some adjutant behind the scenes helped him to put on those garments and to make himself fresh so he could come out and speak to you. Now, back in some of the old days, the preacher or the pastor would have on a robe. He would wear a robe, and sometimes they would go to the back of the church or to the front of the church, and as you were leaving, they would just shake your hand and send you on their way. Why? They would still be in them stinky, sweaty robes because they had not yet changed their clothes. Okay. And no, that's just what the situation was. Okay. When I look at Duane Youngblood and his brother Richard, they were vying for positions in this Hugga church. Oh, I'm going to break it all down to you. And I'm going to show you the attitude of these men and why these men, you need to really understand who and what we're dealing with, because these are some really disgruntled men. And they are some disgruntled men because they saw T.D. Jakes making a lot of money. He was on television. He was becoming very famous, and they thought that they some kind of way, because they were connected to him in that organization, that some kind of way he was supposed to bring them with him. And unfortunately, T.D. Jakes made his money and he separated himself from those people. But I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, that I found very, very interesting and that I share with my moderators. T.D. Jakes, from as far as I can remember, is still a part of the Hugga situation. He's still a part of that. He never left. So you all understand something. So even though he got rich and he got famous, he still remained a part of an organization that most of people have never even heard of. And he's probably still within the ranks of leadership within that organization. Dwayne Youngblood is no longer a part of that organization, ladies and gentlemen, because he is a tier 3 sex offender or essayer, and he had to literally be kicked out of the organization. And that's why he's no longer there. He did not leave voluntarily, as he so skillfully tries to write into these documents like he left on his own accord. No, you left because after your second stint in prison, they actually kicked your ass out. Yes, they did. They put your ass out. And they put your ass out because you could not keep your hands off the little boys. Okay. And because you couldn't keep your hands off the little boys, they kicked your ass out. And because they kicked you out, You are disgruntled, you are angry, you are mad, and you and your brother are upset. Here's another reason why you and your brother are upset. Because when you use church to make your money and to back all of your financial projects and all of the things that you are trying to do outside of the institutional church, uh-huh. And now the faucet has been turned off from you. You then have to go get a regular job, or you have to make a life for yourself. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what most of you you don't know is that Richard Youngblood is on YouTube, on several different YouTube channels, as the king of credit. He is supposed to be this financial guru. He's supposed to be this person who's supposed to be teaching people how to build their finances and make money. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can't make this up. It's out there. You can Google it on your own. I don't have time on tonight. Okay, understand something. This is the Richard Youngblood that is out here on social media. Now, based upon what's in these documents, we're going to get a better picture of who Duane Youngblood here is in just a second. Now, I wanted to say all of that to say this, ladies and gentlemen. If you have been a person who worked behind the scenes serving a bishop or a pastor, a lot of us have gone to their home. We have gone into their personal spaces and places. If your bishop is not married, you may have been asked to prepare meals. You may have been asked to pick up his dry cleaning. You are your pastor's assistant. That is what you do. You are the armor bearer, does a lot of stuff. You're not just carrying water and carrying Bibles and suitcases. That's just not all what you do. That's not everything that you do. Now, I happen to have served a man of God who was married. So his wife prepared the meals. When we came home from service or whatever we did, she was the one who prepared all the meals. We would sit, we would talk, we would speak about the services. We would go back to church, etc. If we weren't eating at the church on that particular Sunday, because some Sundays you couldn't even worship hardly because you could smell all the aromas coming from downstairs, right? And so, where our hall was and everything that we ate. So this is church. That's how we operated. And we didn't go to parties. We didn't do a lot of these other things. Like, it's so hard for people to believe that I didn't even go to the movies. I only remember 2 times ever going to the movies. My Aunt Bob took me to the movies one time. We went, and that's way back in the day because, she had a little bit of money. So she was a little bit hoity-toity. Some people might have gotten a little stipend, K-Rich, but for the most of us, we were volunteers. I know it sounds crazy, but we were volunteers. Why? Because you were learning the ministry, you were learning the ropes, you were learning how to serve preachers and pastors, and you were learning how to stay in your place. What not to say, what to say, how to conduct yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this stipend is new. So let me stop myself for a second. So you were doing what you needed to do. If your pastor called you up and said, "Hey, I need you to pick up so and so," if you had a car and you was the adjutant with the car, that's what you did. If your pastor called you and said, "I need you to wash my car," that's what you did. So that's how we conducted ourselves in the institution, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why do I say all of that? Because Duane Youngblood and his brother, I was not able to really see you all kind of like I see you now. Some of your statements in these documents led me down a path of understanding who I'm dealing with and who you are as individuals. Let me share some stuff with you, ladies and gentlemen, and let me share my screen. All right, let's go to this document. We're going to share. We're going to do that. All righty. Let me blow this document up for you. I'm not going to read all the whole document, so don't you get your panties in a bunch. Okay, we're gonna move around. Now, I told you if you didn't see this document, you needed to go over and watch it on St. James channel. I may put a link for you down in the description if you're watching the replay, so you can go over there to St. James channel and watch it on his channel. I'm not going to read through this whole thing. All right. I'm going to skim. I'm a speed reader. I took a speed reading class in school, so I can speed read and get to the point to where I what I need to be. So you'll just need to be a little bit patient with me while I'm reading. And so, all right. So let's first of all start off with your criminal history. You started off in this document saying that you wanted to address your criminal history. First of all, Dwayne Youngblood, you need to acknowledge your criminal history, and you need to also stop making excuses. I want to read this part here. Here for you guys. Clause number 1. I want to begin by addressing my criminal history. I took plea deals in 2 of my cases and pleaded guilty in 1. At that time, I was not emotionally or physically present in 2006. I was arrested and in 2008. So let me be very clear. For you to simply say that you were not emotionally or psychologically present in 2006, there was no evidence of that. The court deemed you emotionally and psychologically cognitive and able to go through your court cases. And so I don't know what kind of excuse. So the first excuse that we hear from this man is that he was emotionally or psychologically non-present. So he's saying he wasn't there, even though he was physically there, he wasn't there. Okay, now here's the thing with me and you, Duane Youngblood, and nobody else is going to talk to you like this but me and probably TD Jakes. First of all, Dwayne Youngblood, was you emotionally or psychologically present when you got caught in a car with an ankle monitor on, with your pants down with a young man? Were you emotionally and psychologically present then? Because it wasn't your first offense at that time. That was your second offense. And let me be very clear with you. You know, it seems that when it comes to you taking personal responsibilities for your actions, you become emotionally distant or try to disconnect the emotion from what you actually did to those young men. And you try to sort of skim over your criminal past as if that is insignificant with the bedtime story that you are telling. Let me tell you emphatically, Duane Youngblood, I do not believe you. I do not believe your brother. I do not believe your criminal friends who have submitted these affidavits. And let me just say this for the sake of while I'm saying this, nor do I believe TD Jakes is completely innocent of any sort of past history of sexual, misbehavior. No, I don't. I don't believe that. I believe all of you are guilty. But in this case, and with the information that you have given to all of us, I don't believe you. I believe that you are a young minister who was in the Hugga Gugga church, who saw a minister that you were connected to or had close proximity to. And as you saw him becoming richer and richer, and because of the nature of the relationship that you and he had in the past, it rubbed you the wrong way, and you have been bitter and you have been angry ever since. I'm gonna tell you how I know that to be true in just a second. Oh, I got you, Dwayne. I know exactly who you are, bro. Got you clearly. Man. Lord have mercy. Okay, let me. And the reason why I know who you are, sir, when I grew up in church, well, I ain't gonna go there yet. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna tell the story in a minute. Shout out to all the people that put a 1 in the chat. I'm gonna be calling on y'all to say amen here in a little while. So y'all stick around, because I'm gonna need y'all. All them 1s that was up in this chat earlier, I need y'all to stick around. It says, he said, I accepted a plea deal without confronting the issues inside me. Now, see, this is the other thing. This is the other thing that gets me with you, sir. You were a grown man. I believe you were in your late 30s or your mid 30s when you went to jail that last time, sir. And you went to jail. You might have even been in your 40s. I don't even remember, because with all your dates is all off of whack. And that's another reason why this needs to go to trial, because you're full of it. And they need to extrapolate, and they need to excavate from these documents your misstatements, and they need to prove to the jury why you are so ridiculous in your filing. Thank you, Lynn Pearson. I really appreciate 39. So if you were 39 years old, sir, that's part of the problem. You are a 39-year-old man who had not yet learned to deal with the issues that were inside you. Now, wait a minute. And I don't mean to be gross or anything. Or, sir, were you trying to deal with those issues while you were inside those young men? Or were those young men inside you? Were you dealing with any of those issues then? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fair question. I mean, you can get mad at me all you want to. Shout out to all of you that are in the bushes. But I'm trying to tell y'all, this man is trying to sell us a used car with no wheels. And y'all need to understand, I am not that slow. I'm not that stupid. But I'm going to show you some stuff in a minute. Most church people can't talk to you about this stuff. But I swear to you, I'm about to show you something. Stick around. He says he accepted a plea deal without confronting the issues inside him. He returned to pastoring and tried to push through the situation without addressing his pain. Now, I want you all to understand something. After getting caught the first time, also after getting caught the second time, he tried to return to pastoring. Pastoring was the environment that made it easy for him to what's the word for it? Carouse his victims and get all of his victims into one place. Because let's be frank, ladies and gentlemen, his victims were a part of his local congregation. And within that whole situation, from my understanding and from what I've read on the blogs, etc., one young man, it took him going off to college before he was able to break away from you and actually file those papers that got you into prison. Okay. And Chandra Ross, I appreciate the word love it, coerce. So yes. So let me continue here. He said he returned to pastoring and tried to push through it. He failed to meet the requirements of a plea deal, violating it and leading to another arrest in July of 2014. 2 days before his trial, he read the victim statement and realized how wrong it would be to discredit him. Now, what a load of horseshit. If you have not done something, you would not allow yourself to be railroaded in a court of law. If you have to discredit anyone or anything, I am going to discredit you in a court of law. And the reason why you and your co-conspirators like making up these types of stories and sending demand letters or non-disclosure agreements wrapped up, with some sort of payment attached to it is because you don't want to deal with the facts and you don't want anybody to discredit you. One of the reasons why you are filing this anti-slap motion is because you don't want, you and your attorney do not want to face the reality of the information that you have submitted to the court and how you have submitted it. You have submitted all of this stuff on a trash can lid, and you want all of us to dine from your trash can lid, not recognizing or realizing that when you come to the court of public opinion, you have introduced yourself to the speculation. You have introduced yourself to people dissecting and reimagining and re-examining the things that you have submitted in the public space. And I do not under any circumstance, sir, believe that with this stuff that you have written, this story time, let me take a moment. Butterflies in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in this book, it's Reading Rainbow. We can go anywhere with friends to know and ways to grow. It's Reading Rainbow. I'm just trying to tell you, this is what we got here. All right. Anyway, let me go on because y'all know I'm a hoot and I had to do it. So he says he didn't want to discredit anybody. You'd rather go to jail than to discredit the folks that you're dealing with. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So on the morning of the trial, this man say he changed his plea to guilty. Sir, you changed your plea to guilty and you didn't put it in here. Let's tell the people why you changed your plea. I brought up on my channel, and if you are new to my channel, pay very close attention. At the time that this last time that when Dwayne Youngblood went to prison, there was a third victim who came forward, and they wrapped the third victim into his trial with his second arrest. Okay. And the third young person, whose name we don't know, that they actually put it out because he was a minor, and they wrapped that in there. And that's why his behind went to jail. And that's why he changed his plea to guilty, because there was another young person that came forward. And you all know that a lot of times, in order for them to save themselves, and And when other people start coming forward, they just plea out and they try to get everybody to hush up and go on about their business. And that's what I believe that happens. And that's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. And I don't care what you have to say for it. All right. So he pled guilty. The judge sentenced him. Now, because he was on probation, and he just says that like that's just so nonchalant, he had to face the original judge for the violation hearing. Of course, because once the original judge sentenced you the first time, they did not expect for you to be found in a car with a young man with your pants down. Moving right along. At his probation violation hearing, his attorney warned that the judge would be harsh because he had violated his deal. So what that shows me there, Dwayne Youngblood, is that you are somebody who has no regard for the law. I want us to understand who and what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a man that is so brash and so in my mind so diabolical that even though the judge gave him a deal and allowed him to go back out onto the street, he violated the generous deal that the judge gave him. So the judge sentenced him to 5 to 10 years in prison, removing his street time. He was incarcerated and so forth. Okay. And he said, yet even with my release, I had not addressed the deep-seated issues driving my behavior. Now, wait a minute. You are a pastor. You are a leader. You are someone who is educating the people. You're trying to tell me why you're counseling others with their deep-seated issues that you didn't know you were supposed to deal with yours? We're supposed to believe that, Dwayne? Then he says, I no longer pastor, but tried various business ventures while still avoiding the core issues inside me. So you were working businesses and trying other businesses, and you weren't trying to deal with your issues. You were just trying to make money. So now you were in survival mode. So I want you guys to get the picture here. Here is a man that was inside of the Hugga Gugga church, who was now put in a situation where he had to go find a regular job, like Ted Haggard. Y'all remember when Ted Haggard had to go get a regular job, and he was putting door hangers on people's doors, and he was trying to sell insurance, and he was trying to make himself, get a real job. So here is Dwayne Youngblood out here, back out on the street, and he has to try and make a living, and he can't use all of his connections. He can't use TD Jakes. He can't use these other preachers. So he's in a quandary of a situation, ladies and gentlemen. So while on parole in 2020, he had violations that sent him back to prison for the periods of 3 to 9 months. In July of 2021, he began seeing a therapist to confront his struggles with sexual identity and behavior. Now, I want y'all to understand something and be very, very clear here. Sexual identity. So, Dwayne Youngblood, based upon your own statements and what you put into this document, you suffer from not understanding and having a clear identity on your sexual identity. You's a boy, Damon. You's a boy. And so you having some issues. And I don't mean to make it nonchalant, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm tired of playing with these two guys. That's all I'm saying. So this dude says, and his behavior. Okay, well, sir, you're a grown man, and you can participate in behaviors, or you can't. You're 39 years old. At this time, you're much older, I'm sure. But whatever, just for the sake of conversation, because you can't get your dates right, and I can't get them right neither. Along with his state-mandated therapist, he explored the trauma that he experienced in his childhood and adulthood. Understand something, sir. You have not yet told the people what you've experienced in childhood, nor have you told them what you've experienced in adulthood. So there means there was a multiplicity of issues that you were facing that are surrounded your sexual identity that has prevented you from being able to make the best cognitive decisions. He says he began to heal and understand himself deeply in June of 2022. His father passed away. He managed his care which has nothing to do with this case, and release providing some daily assistance. Though he had once expressed willingness to address his family's painful past, his declining health. So let me also tell you what you suffer from here. You also suffer from daddy issues because you were not able to make it right with you and your father before you passed away. So I want to paint a picture for all of you that typed 1 in the chat. 1 in the chat. This is from a 1 in the chat, people who were pastors, adjutants, who assisted your leader, etc. If you are not careful and deeply seated and rooted in who you are as an individual, in a lot of cases, you will start to look at your pastor as your father. If you did not have or your leaders as your fathers, and this is one of the reasons why it's so dangerous in amongst the church to keep talking about this is my spiritual daddy and this is my spiritual mother, because the lines get very gray and they get very crossed when you start addressing these other individuals as your father or your mother spiritually. Now, one of the things that we're able to see here, ladies and gentlemen, through this document is that Duane Youngblood had daddy issues. And so when he's coming up in the Hugga Gugga church and he has these leaders who are leading him and who are speaking to him, he is attributing certain types of things to these leaders. I feel these are my opinions to these leaders, and these leaders are they are dealing with him in a certain kind of way, and they're probably being very harsh or hard on him because he is a man. Duane Youngblood is a man. He is a boy. And normally men do not speak to other men in a very, what's the word for it? Flowery. They don't speak to you in the way that they would speak to a woman. It is more harsh. It is more sandpaperish. It is more abrasive. It is not a that kind of stuff. We deal with men like men. Go over here, do this, get the da. And so inside of the Hugga Gugga church, I can imagine that when they dealt with this effeminate, sexually identity confused individual, that he was taking a lot of the things that were being said to him personally. He internalized those things. He sat on those things, and it made him feel some type of way towards not just Bishop Jakes, also Bishop Watkins and the other people that were surrounding the Hugga Gugga church. In my mind and how I read these documents today is Duane Youngblood is a disgruntled man who climbed up his way into the upper echelons of this church, and he was never awarded or afforded what he felt like should have been his opportunities. And because of that, he has been hell-bent on paying these people back in one way or another. That's just my opinion. I believe these documents bear this out, in my opinion. Let's go on, because I'm going to show you how I know that to be true. In number 5, he says he violated his parole by withholding important personal information from his therapist. It says he violated his parole. So here goes another example, number 2, of how Duane Youngblood was breaking the law. And he had no regard for the law. He was hiding things. He was not telling the truth. He has a pattern of behavior that tries to evade his personal responsibilities. That's number 2. He said his shame led him to refuse to share this information again in October. So now he is making excuses. He's trying to say as to why he did not share this information about TD Jakes. This is them trying to clean up the fact that he went through all of these court cases, and not one time did he mention that he had any sort of interactions with TD Jakes. This information would have saved him if he would have, that would have gave a more clear picture, I should say. It wouldn't have saved him, but it would have given people a clearer picture of who he was and what he was if he would have given these people this information. But he went through 2 court cases, ladies and gentlemen, and he never mentioned this interaction with Bishop TD Jakes. It says here that he began working with a new therapist whose approach opened his eyes to his entire life experiences. Reading Rainbow. When I returned to prison for my October violation, I continued therapy through letters and biweekly sessions. I want you to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, he's continuing his therapy by letters. He's not even actually sitting with a therapist. He's doing it like some of these people today, trying to do all of this virtual therapy. You know, you're not in the same room. Now, is it okay to do virtual therapy? Yes. If the other person comes up on the screen, I have no issue with that. But a lot of these people that are claiming they having therapy are not having therapy. What they're having is they're having crying sessions where they're going to cry on somebody's shoulder, and they're never taking personal responsibility for their own actions. The reason why I know this is because over the last several years, I've experienced something with another content creator who claimed that they was in therapy and had accountability partners and all kind of stuff, and they wasn't doing shit. The only thing they were doing was making excuses for their behavior and never taking the personal responsibility for their own actions. Hence, the same thing that we see with Duane Youngblood. He is consistently breaking the law. He is consistently not doing the things that he needs to do and taking personal responsibility for his own behavior. But let's go on, ladies and gentlemen. It says here that he continued to have this therapy. His therapist recognized that his in the initial diagnosis and adjusted and made an adjustment. Talking about he had an adjustment disorder with anxiety and was incomplete, and diagnosed him with post-traumatic stress disorder. Duane Youngblood, I believe you had PTSD when you went to prison. Anybody who goes to jail is going to have some post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't believe that PTSD came from you having the experiences that you had with a potential hug and a kiss. No potential hug and kiss is going to create for you post-traumatic stress disorder. If that is the case, Duane Youngblood, you should have had post-traumatic stress disorder when you were violating those young people. Where was your PTSD with sticking your hands down little boys' pants and some of the stuff that you've done in your past? Why didn't that create for you a post-traumatic stress disorder? No, you willfully and ignorantly did those things, and you did it under the guise of you not understanding your insides and not being able to deal with your insides. I'm over you and I'm over your brother. Let's continue. Upon his release in 2024, he was assured more experience with a state therapist, blah, blah, blah. He felt truly heard. These two therapists helped him, blah, blah, blah. In September 24, he felt at peace with his progress he had made. He shared his reflections with family and friends, seeing humanity more clearly, blah, blah, blah. Of course, you would see humanity more clearly because you're on your way out of jail. This newfound clarity gave me the courage to share his life story. He had previously spoken to Larry Reid during his incarceration about telling his story. Now, I want to take a pause here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to remind you, do you all remember that his wife's affidavit, I'm not going to pull it up. I've made several other videos about it. Do you all not remember his wife putting in her affidavit that Dwayne sent her on notebook paper, on ledger paper? He had started to write a book, or had started to communicate with her through these letters, and he sent her these letters, and he told her, quote unquote, he was going to tell his life story at some point. So Duane Youngblood had already, in his mind, according to these documents, started the progression of getting ready to tell his life story. But the connection needs to be understood, and what needs to be established is who told Duane Youngblood about Larry Reid. Could it have been his brother Richard Youngblood, who had already met Larry Reid prior to, and Larry Reid, from what I understand and from what history reminds me of, had already assisted Richard Youngblood when Richard Youngblood had went to jail. Y'all remember Richard Youngblood went to jail for not paying his child support. Y'all remember that? And y'all remember that the podcaster, the YouTube uploader, was trying to get him some money and some assistance because he was in jail. Why would this person be trying to assist him and get him when they had no connection? Larry Reid was not connected to the Hugga Gugga Church. Larry Reid had no connection to him whatsoever. So what would be the reasoning that Larry Reid would have to try to offer financial assistance to Richard when Richard was going through what he was going through. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that Richard Youngblood said that while he was going through all of this, he was reaching out to TD Jakes and asking TD Jakes for assistance. Not only was he asking TD Jakes for assistance, at one particular point in time, he asked him for a job. Y'all remember in the documents that TD Jakes filed, he said when Richard Youngblood came to him, he said, I wasn't giving Richard no job because Richard was a man that didn't pay his child support. His wife and him had a whole situation. His children, his whole family was in an upheaval. What am I going to give you a job for you to come here and be up in ministry with me when the Bible says that a man who doesn't rule his own home is worse than an infidel? Why am I bringing you up into my ministry to cause all this kind of stuff, right? So here we go for this, ladies and gentlemen. So he says he began to share this blah 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 blah. So he says during this 2-hour interview with Larry Reid, he discussed his age from 9 to 57. The interview was not about Bishop Jakes or any one person. Let's stop there. You made a consistent effort to address TD Jakes. You made a consistent effort to make it about TD Jakes. You knew there was no other name that you could mention that was more popular, understood amongst Black culture, Black church culture, and just church in general, because this is also a man that was considered to be America's pastor, that if you mention his name, it was going to cause what it caused. Not only did you mention his name, but you and your co-conspirators said that y'all were not just going to have a part 1 and 2, but you had other videos that were in the works and that you guys were going to be making other videos about it. So let's just let's just cut out the lies when it comes to that, sir. You're out of your mind. So he says he believed that sharing his entire story, the big picture, blah, blah, blah. Now, let me find the others where I needed to go to here. Speed reading. Y'all give me a minute. And number 9, you said it wasn't about Bishop Jakes, but it was not about violence, but it was about the moment that he that deeply affected you. You a lie, because you said he grabbed you and he tried to kiss you, sir, and you said you almost died. Now, here's my question: how could you almost die from a hug and a kiss, but you couldn't almost die when you was committing those offenses against those young men? I'm confused by that. Shout out to all of you that are here with me right now. Please make sure that you hit the like button. I really appreciate it. And if you have not yet subscribed to the Mad Church Disease channel, where you get raw and unfiltered information and a better understanding of church history and church culture, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, because here it's unfiltered, and that's exactly how I like to do it. All right. He simply shared that a powerful meeting in or about. Now, listen, here's what we get into trouble with Duane Youngblood. Everything is always in or about. He can't never remember none of these dates. You know why he can't remember none of these dates? Let me just tell you why. Because all of this is a hodgepodge of different stories and events that have happened that he has put together and culminated in order to file this lawsuit and try to make sense out of all of this. So in or about 1986, I believe we were still using cassette tapes then. He says he pulled him close and attempted to kiss him on the lips. Now notice, we didn't get nothing. I don't believe in no other document, ladies and gentlemen, did we see a kiss on the lips. This is the final time when he says kiss on the lips. He didn't say kiss on the lips from my memory before, but now he's saying it in this document. So every round is going a little bit higher with this man, right? He says, the next day he called and made inappropriate offers that I've never forgotten, that you also can never prove. You're full of shit, Dwayne. And it says to make the only person that he blah, 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 Pittsburgh. I'm not reading all this crap. I didn't know why he did that, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't mean anything. Oh, these memories about him are nearly 40 years old, but remain vivid, blah, 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 blah. You're full of shit. In or around about 1993 or 94. See, they can't get these dates right. Bishop Sherman Watkins, who was head of an organization. Now, y'all got to pay very close attention to this part. Head of an organization Bishop Jakes and I were in, attempted to mediate reconciliation. So I want you all to understand something. Between 1986 and 1993, in these documents, Dwayne Youngblood said he was avoiding TD Jakes between 1986 and 1993 or 94. Now, understand something, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason why they didn't put this 94 on here is because in 94, TD Jakes was starting to make money. He was on, I believe he was on TBN by that time. I think he had a 30-minute slot. I don't know if they were giving him the full hour at that particular time. So he was becoming famous and he was getting more money in 1994. The reason why they added 1994 was so that they could make it seem as if TD Jakes made these statements to him around the time that he personally had money. Do you all understand what I'm saying? So the only way that this kind of connects and they can get the money element to make more sense is to say that this is something that happened in 1994, because this is when TD Jakes was starting to make money, but he still was not rich in 1994. He was not a world renowned in 1994. He was not traveling the world in 1994. This is a totally different situation. Totally different situation. Okay, totally different situation. All right, so here we go. 1994. He says, it was Sherman Watkins, who was the head of the organization Bishop Jakes and I were in. So I want you to understand something. He's trying to put himself on the same level. In an attempt to mediate reconciliation, leading to Bishop Jakes speaking at my church. So understand something. So between 1986 and 1994, he's claiming that Bishop Jakes and him had this strange relationship. He reached out to Bishop Watkins, but he didn't reach out to Bishop Watkins for him to reconciliate the situation. Understand what's being said here, ladies and gentlemen. He attempted to mediate reconciliation, leading to Bishop Jakes speaking at his church. So now, because Bishop Jakes is becoming more popular, he's making more money, they're raising more offerings. Now Duane Youngblood wants Jakes to come and preach for him. Now, this is a man that you claim have done horrible things to you, have made you almost die on the inside, but all of a sudden now you reaching out. Now understand. Bishop Watkins contacted you, or you contacted Bishop Watkins for him to come to your church. Why would you want him to come to your church, get up in front of a congregation, speak well of Bishop Jakes, read his bio, and have this communication about him, knowing what the things that you claim happened to you? That's something that you might want to consider, something you might want to think about. That's something that you might want to keep in your mind, ladies and gentlemen. Now listen at this. After the service, in his hotel room. Whose hotel room? Bishop Watkins' hotel room or Bishop Jakes' hotel room? We don't know who he is because it's not being communicated. So let's just assume, for the sake of conversation, it's Bishop T.D. Jakes' hotel room. So now a man that you said violated you to the point to where you almost died, you now are going to go inside of his hotel room and you're going to directly ask him why he acted that way towards you. What do you mean? What way he acted towards you? What way are you talking about? Now, for those of you that have not been around this channel for a while, there was a situation that happened between Daryl and I and a content creator. I called him the one-eyed Cyclops. Some people refer to him as Mookie Dookie. Some people refer to him as all sorts of things. But there was one particular time we caught this content creator in a whole bunch of lies. And he tried to go live and put his mama on the phone. I believe it was his mama or his grandmama. And he gonna ask his mama or his grandmama. He gonna say this is the word that he used with his mama and grandma. Now, he had told us a whole bunch of lies about him having to be evacuated and medevaced to another hospital, and he got pneumonia on his what did he get pneumonia on, y'all? Now I done forgot. Just on his sickle cell. He had pneumonia on his sickle cell. He had lost all the blood on his right side of his body. Just this guy had all kind of ailments, right? He puts his mother on the phone and he says to his mother, it was his mama from what I remember. So his mama gets on the phone and his mama he says to his mama, he said, well, mama, didn't I go to the hospital that time? And I go, hold on, nigga. We ain't talking about that time. We talking about this particular time and this particular day and so forth. So he uses that to try and give this sort of ambiguous situation here. Now read how this is worded here. He says to Bishop Jakes, he says, I directly asked him why he acted that way towards me. What way are you talking about? You need to be able to explain what way you're discussing. And his response was, my stock was rising and I would have had sex with anyone. Now, this is to make you believe that because in 1993 or 94, understanding the context of how this is written, his stock was rising and he had to have a hot ass Dwayne Youngblood. This is how he wants you to believe this story. He wants you to believe that Duane Youngblood was so hot and sexy, and his gluteus maximus was bringing all the boys to the yard. And Dwayne is trying to get you to believe that TD Jakes just had to have him. And this is his mentality. He had to have him so bad that TD Jakes was still running around preaching in all of them suits that he bought off of the rack, and all of that stuff never fit him properly, and he looked horrible. And but that's a whole nother subject. But he wants us to believe, ladies and gentlemen, that his stock was rising and he promised to take care of little old Duane Youngblood. And he says the statement stayed with him for decades and he remained distanced from him throughout his entire time in the organizations, which lasted until he left in 2005. Okay, hold on. He says he did not do the interview for the brief segment about Jakes, but to share his life's journey over 45 years. And you're full of shit. You did the interview so that you could mention Jakes, blah 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 blah. Let me go on. Jermaine's he says that Jermaine, which is a bunch of lies. Let me tell you, Jermaine's claim that he tried to warn me about Larry Reid without seeing my interview is false. Jermaine blocked me before I could even respond to his message. Ladies and gentlemen, we saw the message and we saw Duane Youngblood respond to the message. If you remember, we showed you in the exhibits, he responded to the message. He said he sought legal counsel only after these events because he feared retaliation. Well, according to the documentation, ladies and gentlemen, Duane Youngblood says he sought representation after Jermaine Jakes sent him the email because he felt like he was being threatened. Okay. He said attorney Blackburn reached out to him in November the 1st. And I'm not going to talk about these dates right now. I'm going to get into that later. Blah, blah, blah. Godsend, blah, blah, blah. Just lies, lies, lies. Just lies. This is all lies. A lot of this is just lies. In my opinion, it is what it is. Since being released from prison, he's worked hard to rebuild his life. Duane Youngblood, you a lie. You've worked hard to send out demand letters and to make a request for $6 million. That's what you got out of jail before you could even get the prison soap off of your body, off the skin of your body. You was already putting this concoction together and sending this man a $6 million request. You hadn't even been out of jail that long. So I don't know what in the world, and who do you think is going to believe that? But okay, whatever. These efforts have nothing to do with my claims against plaintiff Jakes. You a damn lie. Moving right along. As for legal notice of my attorney, he says it is a standard and good faith effort to resolve a dispute. First of all, you have to be in a dispute in order to resolve a dispute. You were not in a dispute. You sent a letter requesting somebody to send you some money, and it said for settlement purposes only. It did not say for negotiating a dispute. You're full of shit. Okay, I'm not going into the anti-slap stuff. I'm not going to deal with that. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. He said, "Oh, this is the shit kicker for me. This the shit kicker for me." Oh, hold on. Let me say this before I go there. 18. Finally, in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, this is where all of you adjutants, assistants, and so forth, I need y'all to pay attention with me. And I probably need to take a break before I get into this other part. It says, finally, in Nashville, Tennessee, Bishop Jakes called me out in a church service at our organizational annual conference. He said that people I was with did not know who I was. Now, see, this is another thing. That's how you know they didn't proofread. He said that the people I was with did not know who I was and that I did not know who I was. Okay, that's was spoken in around 2003 or 2004. Now he remembers the dates on this, but he couldn't remember the other dates. It was always in or around, in or about, and then here we go, around 2003, 2004. Okay. And today I'm glad to say I do know who I am. This lawsuit has made four things clear to me. Y'all do me a favor. I'm gonna be right back with y'all in just a second. Let me go to the restroom. 1 second. I promise. Talk amongst yourselves. I gotta do it, y'all. Sorry. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to do it. Okay, I'm back. Okay, all right. All right, watch this. Watch this. I tell you, I'm about to tell y'all something. So, with the culmination of things that I've said to you thus far tonight, I want y'all to hear me. All of you that are adjutants, leaders, serve your pastors, pay attention because I'm gonna need y'all support right here. In or around 2003, 2004, Bishop T.D. Jakes at the annual conference, at convention, jurisdictional meeting, whatever you want to say, called out in a church service. Because look at what he said. Bishop Jakes called me out in a church service. Bishop T.D. Jakes embarrassed Duane Youngblood in or around 2003, 2004. And he calls him out in front of everybody at the jurisdictional meeting, at convocation. He calls him out. And he says to this man, he says, you don't know who you are. And the people around you don't even know who you are. Ladies and gentlemen, and what we have in our midst today is a man who is trying to tell everybody, T.D. Jakes don't know who he is, and y'all don't know who he is. Okay, so this is this is Dwayne Youngblood's clapback at Bishop T.D. Jakes in more ways than one. Now, many of you who do not know, who have never worked in the adjutant or assistant capacity, back in my day in church, if you did some F stuff, the bishops, the elders, they did not hesitate to call you out in front of everybody. Now, I told you guys that I grew up in an organization where I did some F stuff one time. And my bishop, my pastor, called me out in front of the entire convention. He sure did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I was embarrassed. I don't think I cried in the moment, but I think I probably, when I finally got home and thought about it and was so embarrassed, I probably did cry. I was devastated. Just like Duane Youngblood was devastated when Bishop Jakes called him out in front of the entire organizational annual conference. And he didn't get called out by Bishop Sherman Watkins. He got called out by Bishop T.D. Jakes. Now, in your mind, ladies and gentlemen, let's just go down this storybook road. Okay, let's go down the storybook road for just a minute. Let's say you're Duane Youngblood and you're one of the hot boys in the Hugga Gugga church, and you laying it low and spreading it wide. And you also know that you have a close proximity to T.D. Jakes, and you've heard stories about him laying it low and spreading it wide. Because I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what T.D. Jakes does. Do I think there could have been a possibility of him doing some stuff with this? Absolutely. I'm not one of those people. You're going to accuse me of defending T.D. Jakes. They do it every day, all day. I'm not defending the man. I'm just telling you, this man from the Hugga Gugga church, his story is full of shit. All right, moving right along. So here T.D. Jakes calls him out. He knows who T.D. Jakes is. He's heard stories in the Hugga Gugga church. But now this ninja's calling me out. You don't call me out, especially if you doing the same thing I'm doing. And who are you to tell me I don't know who I am? So that lets you know right then and there, ladies and gentlemen, in this case, for those of you that serve bishops and pastors and leaders, this was a situation where he was reprimanded and he was embarrassed in front of the entire annual conference, and he was upset because somebody told him he didn't know who he was. Now, ladies and gentlemen, adjutants, pastors and leaders, and all of those of you that are in this chat that put in the one, I want those of you that have been embarrassed or had some type of situation happen to you within the annual conference or at the annual church meeting, go ahead and put a one in the chat for me again, please. Those of you who have been embarrassed by your leader, put your one in the chat. Thank you, Irene Holmes. Thank you, Delightful Days Candle Company. Thank you, Miss Erica. Just Being Me, Christine Parks, Dion Sanders. Thank you so very much. Thank y'all for putting your one in the chat. I personally have been embarrassed by my leader. Tasha Global, been embarrassed by my leader. Moni No Love, been embarrassed by the leader. Katrina Hamilton, been embarrassed by the leader. But you know what I did? I humbled myself and accepted my fate and dealt with the F stuff that I was doing in church. I dealt with it. I handled myself accordingly, got my act together, and moved on up and did the things that I needed to do. Because an open rebuke in a lot of cases can help to save your soul. So think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Duane Youngblood received an open rebuke in 2003, 2004 before he ran into all of this situation with these little boys. And he didn't know who he was then, and he doesn't know who he is now. J. Rochelle, thank you. Miss Erica, thank you so much. We accepted our punishment and we sat down. Let me tell you who I believe and what I believe Duane Youngblood is. He is an immature, Tier 3 essayer of children who cannot, and who could not at the time accept who he is and what he was. And he is mad because he feels like the man who is telling him these things is guilty of some things himself. And he doesn't like the fact that that guy is going to get away with whatever he feels like that guy is going to get away with. Therefore, I need to come out here and tell all of the people, this is what he did to me. He tried to kiss me. Now, you tell me, as an adjutant, as a leader, have we not gone through worse things that we have seen and heard that would probably warrant a check and that would probably warrant more money than what Duane Youngblood has gone through in this situation, ladies and gentlemen? I'm sure those of you that are listening to me have encountered a lot of things. You have heard a lot of things about your spiritual leaders, and you've had to keep your mouth shut. And we have kept our mouths shut because it is not our place. It is not for us to say those things because, some things are not good or expedient for us to be explaining to a lot of people because a lot of people are not going to identify. When I told some of you that it was a custom for us to hug each other and to kiss each other when we greeted each other, some of you, that is the most foreign, crazy thing to you in the whole wide world. And there are other sects of Christianity where they do kiss each other on the mouth. There are some that they don't. There are some that they do. They greet each other with a hug and a kiss, the men and the women. So 35,000 different sects of Christianity. 35K we're working on, okay? Just so you understand. And some of them do. Okay, and some orthodoxy, they're gonna kiss each other twice, once on the left, once on the right. It's some denominations, some organizations is way different. Way different. Let me move on. You were called out in the annual meeting, and you have been pissed off and pissed angry. You've been pissy angry ever since. Duane Youngblood, you are a disgruntled assistant. You are a disgruntled pastor who just don't know how to deal with leadership. And now you're mad because you had to leave the Hugga Gugga church. They don't want you. You've got to make a living for yourself. And now all of a sudden you thought you could come up with this great plan with these co-conspirators that were going to get you some heyday and some payday. Let me tell you, I profoundly have a profound disrespect at this point for you and your brother. You are disgusting. You are disgusting, and your brother is disgusting. I'm not even going to deal with these damn criminals because these criminals, everybody that's attached to you is a criminal. Even the people that are giving these affidavits. And yes, your criminal history, your criminal background most certainly should come into question when you are questioning the integrity of someone who doesn't have a mugshot. I want y'all to hear me. And hear me very well as I say this. Even when it comes to social media, I am sometimes amazed at how some of you will put weight on antagonists and people out here on the internet who are criminals and their past histories, and the way that they act on the social media streets is nothing but criminal. You will put more weight on supporting those kind of individuals who have mugshots, who have criminal histories. I could go down a lot of these content creators and tell you about their criminal background. They got all kinds of stuff, stealing money from all sorts of people. Oh my God, identity theft. I mean, I can go down the whole list. Some of these content creators out here, but Duane Youngblood thought that his criminal activity and his criminal history should not come into play. And shout out to Heavenly Dove. Thank you for putting that one in there. All is well. Edwards, thank you as well. He thinks that his criminal history should have nothing to do with the documents and the paperwork that he is filing against TD Jakes. No, sir. You are a tier 3 SA offender, and so was the man that wrote the affidavit for you, and also this Tim Allen dude who's also a criminal also. You're just a bunch of criminals. Just a bunch of criminals. Let me say, here's what he claims that he's learned. Personal growth and accountability. How have you become accountable, sir, when you're still making excuses for the reasons why you went back to jail? How is he holding himself accountable, chat, if he's still, even in this document, making excuses for why he went back to jail? He's blamed everybody. He blamed a paralegal. He blamed a therapist. He blamed his lawyer. He blamed everybody. He's still not taking personal responsibility for the reasons why he went back to jail. He's basing it on scheduling error. He's basing it on all kinds of stuff as to why he went back to jail. No, sir, you went back to jail because you like touching the little boys. And until you can come to grips with the fact that you are a sex offender, you are a SAer of children, sir. That's who and what you are. Until you can come to grips with that, you cannot tell me that you've had personal growth and accountability. The only personal growth you had, sir, was your penis growing while you was assaulting those young men. That was the personal growth that you had in your life. It was growing on you while you was committing your crimes. Take a breath. You have not had, or you have not done the hard work to become a better man. Because if you had done the hard work to become a better man, sir, you would not have submitted a request for $6 million to someone for a hug and a potential kiss. Get out of here, sir. Knock it off. This is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting. A, he says personal growth and accountability. B, he says Bishop Jakes' lack of accountability. Despite his position, Bishop Jakes has not done the personal work that I have to confront his actions and their impact. There you go, slandering the man's name again. How the hell do you know he hasn't done the personal work that's necessary within his life in order for him to do to move forward in his life? You don't know that. You had no interactions or situations with this man. So where did you come up? Where did you get that information from, sir? Lack of accountability. You know what lack of accountability sounds like? Blaming your therapist, blaming your lawyer, blaming a paralegal for you going back to jail. That shows a lack of accountability, sir. Moving right along. The true victory is inner peace. Ninja, what are you talking about? This is not church. You're not going to be able to just smooth your way over and say this stupid shit because see, I'm far removed from the institution, so now I can talk to you just like a nigga. I can talk to you just like a regular person. You're full of shit, and so is your brother full of shit. And I'm gonna move right on. The law of seed time and harvest. Listen here, sir. The law of seed time and harvest met you way back in the 2000s when you effed around and found out with an ankle monitor on in a car with a young man. That was your seed time, and the harvest came quickly when you went to jail. So you can sit up here all day. Now, let me also say, you're also sowing some seeds on this here internet, and the harvest is we don't believe a word coming out of your mouth. No one believes what you're saying, Dwayne Youngblood. Though most of the individuals who do believe you, they've got Cash App vested interest in supporting your co-conspirator and the folks that surround this situation. And they know that this isn't, they know what it is, but they have to save face and they have to pretend like they don't know what it is. But for those of us who can read and comprehend, we see you clearly, Duane Youngblood. Now, you meant to destroy TD Jakes, so stop all of this. I didn't mention Bishop Jakes to destroy him or demand millions. If that was the case, then why did you ask for the money? Shut up, dude. You're just lying through your teeth. So that's that. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go over here. Let's share this tab real quick. This is the brother. The brother responds. Plea deals, blah blah blah. What was the other part that I wanted to read? Well, leading to another arrest. Which one is this? Oh, that's Dwayne. Which one was this? That was Dwayne too, right? Or was this Richard? No, that was Dwayne. Okay, yeah, this is Dwayne too. Oh, this is the one where they're making all excuse and blah blah blah. All right, let's go on. Who is this? That's Tim. Which one is this? Okay, I thought that was Richard's. You know why I thought that was Richard's? Because one of them has Richard's name on it. Okay, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not even going to deal with Richard. Richard, you're a mess too. Let me go over here to Tim Anderson. Let's find Tim's stuff. And I'm not going to read all of this, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, I'm not. I want to get to a part. Blah, blah, blah. During the first night after the conference. Lady mentioned same encounter. We got blah, 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 blah. Larry Reid, blah, blah, blah. On or about, these experiences have shaped my personal understanding and perspective, blah, blah, blah. Then he goes into living on the streets. Listen to this. Wait, let me stop right here. Tim Anderson, butterflies in the sky. You can go twice as high. Take a look. It's in your book. It's Reading Rainbow. You could go anywhere with friends to know and ways to grow. Reading Rainbow. That's what this is. It's all Reading Rainbow. Moving right along. Living in the streets. That's what he starts about. Reflecting on his pain. Put that in your book, nigga. Nobody's trying to read that in an affidavit. The aftermath and what it led to. The first moment, this moment didn't immediately change everything. Change rarely happens overnight. Blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. New life in ministry. Laying hands on by Bishop Jakes, the prophetic words ignited something in you, blah, 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 blah. As soon as I left the revival, I was on fire, blah, blah, blah. Developing a heart for service, blah, blah, blah. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, through this whole document, he kind of skims over his criminal history as well. This is also a criminal. Don't let it kind of gloss over you, ladies and gentlemen. This man is a criminal too. Moving right along. I'm just saying. Criminals, and more criminals. That's what I should have titled this damn video. Criminals, and more criminals. Dedicated life to ministry, stepping into leadership. Years passed, and with me time, the church and its members began to realize the gifts and callings I had. I started stepping into more leadership roles. Understanding this, leaders, for those of you that put the one in the chat, he's stepping into leadership roles. He's leading Bible studies, preaching at services, and eventually taking on more responsibility within the church. Each time he stood before the congregation, I was reminded of his dream, the table of abundance, evangelist, blah, 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 blah. T.D. Jakes prophesying over him. I knew not the ministry, the fruits of the journey, and impacting others, blah, blah, blah. Looking back, every trial, every victory, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. After being licensed and ordained as an elder at Higher Ground, always abounding assemblies, the Hugga Gugga Church, my calling to ministry took on a new dimension. I was appointed as a national youth evangelist, a position that allowed me to travel from church to church within the organization, preaching and sharing the message of the gospel. So I want you to understand, a man that had lived this criminal life is now the youth pastor, and he's traveling, and now he's able to try to build up his name, his reputation. If you've ever been a young evangelist in your organization and you got the opportunity to travel, etc., and your stock is rising, your offerings are rising, you're doing all of these things, you're growing and coming up in the church. So that's the nature of how the beast goes. It was both an honor and a responsibility. My livelihood would come from offerings and honorarium. So understand something, ladies and gentlemen. He just told you something that is crucial for you to understand. His livelihood, how he took care of himself, came from his offerings and honorariums. At first, the experience was exhilarating. He felt like he was living out the very calling that he had received years ago, blah, blah, blah. Every church he visited was a new opportunity to serve, blah, blah, blah. With any calling, challenges began to arise. A surprising challenge, navigating difficult situations. As he began to speak at a church organization, it seemed like as I had been invited to speak at a church in the organization, and it seemed like any other event. However, during my visit, the bishop who invited me made a comment that stopped me in my tracks. He said, I didn't bring you here for my daughter, whom you become friends with. I brought you here for me. So understand something. This is very interesting. He's saying that the bishop told him, whoever this bishop was, that the bishop didn't bring him there for his daughter. So the bishop must have saw that he was liking his daughter, etc., etc. He says that he brought him here for him. Now that you could have took that one of two ways. I brought you here to minister for me. I didn't bring you here so that you could be hooking up with my daughter. Sometimes people will take the words and they try to twist the words and make them into something that they're not. He saw that you was eyeing his daughter. He simply told you, I brought you here to preach. I didn't bring you here for all that other mess. Because trust me when I tell you, this is how they talk to you back in the day. They would tell you point blank into the peer, especially if you were in leadership and you was making money and you were getting them yellow envelopes, because back in the day, that's how they would hand you the money. Especially if it was in cash, they gave it to you in a little yellow weed envelope. I used to call them the weed envelopes because that's how people used to sell their weed in them yellow manila envelopes. And they would give you the little yellow manila envelopes, and that's what you had to do, blah, blah, blah. He says here, I knew exactly what he meant. His word carried a weight that I could not ignore. I was shocked. You're full of shit too. Dude, you're full of it too. You're full of it too. You just got mad because you got reprimanded. The man told you he didn't bring you there so you could try to screw his daughter. He brought you there for him so that you could preach the message and raise the money and go on about your business. Y'all think y'all slick. I am not moved by your wording. I know exactly what you guys you. And let me just tell you, for those of you that are not familiar with church, this is a wordsmith game. They're playing a word game here with all of us. And Brian Karn loves to do this a lot. Brian Karn loves to play the word game. And Kiara Sheard is learning how to play the word game. Talking about her husband and her daughter's been in her guts. God is up to something, right? They playing word games. Everybody's playing word games because then they'll say certain things and then they'll come back and say and change the meaning of what they done said. Oh, trust me, I've been there, done that. I know what's going on here. His words carried weight, blah, blah. He said, I respected this man, but now I was faced with something I never expected to encounter in ministry. My initial reaction was to take offense, to accuse him of making an inappropriate pass, but I quickly realized that doing so could lead to consequences that could damage not only my reputation, but the ministry as a church as a whole. No, what you realize, sir, is that if you mess with the wrong man, it was going to mess up your livelihood and your ability to continue to matriculate through the organization. So you closed your mouth. That's what you did. You did what a lot of other ministers, you did a lot of what a lot of other adjutants and other people do when they've been reprimanded or somebody done said something smart or slick to you. You close your mouth. That's what you did. Moving right along, he says, I knew that I knew that if I confronted him directly, he would easily turn it around and say he was referring to the church or ministry and not to me personally. You know what? This is what I'm saying. They know what they're doing, ladies and gentlemen. They know exactly what they're doing. And I am not confused. And I know fully what you all are doing. And it's sick. It's really sick. And it's disheartening, to tell you the truth. Reflections and integrity of wisdom, blah, blah, blah. In that moment, I chose to stay quiet, blah, blah, blah. Complexities of ministry, blah, blah, blah. A deeper understanding of ministry. Let me see. He says, listen at this. He says, every bishop I preach for seemed to have their own struggles and boundaries, and I became disheartened by the recurring pattern. First of all, every human being has their own struggles. And if you were serving in ministry and matriculating up the upper echelon of the ecumenical community, you should have known that. They should have expressed and explained to you that every person has issues, including yourself. You had them too, sir. We're moving right along. He said, many approach me either directly or indirectly, and that's what made me uncomfortable, whatever. Now he's trying to say everybody in the church was after him. So he's another hot boy. He thinks he's a hot boy. Let me see. I need to get to the other. An offer from Bishop T.D. Jakes. Now, I'm going to read through this. T.D. Jakes, according to him, offered him $24,000 to come and he says he didn't understand why T.D. Jakes would offer him such a low salary when he was already making more money. Well, first of all, it's called an opportunity. Anybody who understands an opportunity understands even though you may take a lesser salary comes with perks. I want y'all to hear me very carefully. It depends on the compensation package that you put together for these people. But being able to travel with the bishop, being able to go where he goes and all of those things, when the bishop sits down and eat, you don't pay for those meals. The bishop pays for those meals. Anything that you need when you're out and about, the bishop covers the cost of those things. Okay. So giving you a $24,000 salary, he gave you what you was probably worth at the time, because from the looks of it, you weren't even worth $24,000. He should have paid you $13,000, and that's just my opinion, because you didn't know what you was doing in the first place. But he thought it was going to be a fair trade, but he was uncertain. So he says, so still, who at my age, coming from my background, would not want to serve under somebody like T.D. Jakes? Exactly. Blah, blah, blah. He told Bishop Watkins, my pastor, about the offer, and he gave me his blessing. Although with caution, he told me all that glitters isn't gold. And what he told you, all that glitters isn't gold, is because when you go and step into a certain level of ministry, it's work. People always looking at the glamour and stuff of ministry, not understanding that ministry is work. When Jesus said, I gave you some pastors, some prophets, some teachers, some evangelists for the equipping of the saints, the Bible says for the work of ministry. People don't understand that ministry is work. People make ministry look too glamorous, but that's a whole nother situation because everybody with a microphone ain't really doing ministry anyway. But let's just move on. It says, at one particular point, while I had hoped to discuss ministry to learn from him as his mentor, something unexpected happened. At one point, he went into his bathroom, and when he returned, he passed by me naked. Just the part I wanted to get to. He says, I was stunned. Anybody who has served a bishop or pastor or leader might have seen some skin at one particular time. You might have seen some skin when you was helping them in or out of their clothes in their robe in order for them to change to go greet the people after service. You might have seen all kinds of things. But here's another thing why these grown men are disturbing me. From our day of growing up, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are men in this room and in this chat, we used to have something called gym. We would play basketball. We would do all sorts of things. We would get dressed. And then we would go to the showers. Any men in the chat remember going to the showers? Any women in here remember when you was in school, y'all had to go, we took showers. And we all went into the shower. And you could see everybody's naked ass at some particular point in time. Somebody was in there naked. We was all naked. Anybody in here ever went and took a shower in school? Because when I took showers back in the day in school, we didn't even have curtains. They had no damn curtains. There was no sectioning off of nothing. You went and stood yourself under that dang on spout. Even if the water was cold and there was no hot water, you had to go and take your shower. But these are grown men now complaining to my TD Jakes passed by him and he saw his ass. Let me say this. The Bible says that Moses, who was not in the beginning with God, the Bible says that at one particular point, God walked by Moses and Moses saw the hinder parts of God. He saw the hinder parts of God. He saw the stuff that was behind God. Okay. So at some particular point, Tim Anderson saw the hinder parts of TD Jakes, Ibosha, and it so made him die. These grown men saw ass and it just destroyed them. Oh Lord, I don't know what to do. Let me tell you what these are, ladies and gentlemen. And when I read these documents and understood these documents, and I'm about to let y'all go because I know you've been here. What I saw, ladies and gentlemen, were a bunch of men who were serving preachers and pastors in these capacities and assisting these preachers and pastors. And you know what they discovered? They discovered that these were men. And because of their immaturity and their lack of understanding of ministry, these men have remained disgruntled their entire lives. And they are mad. They are upset at the fact that TD Jakes was able to continue to become successful. Now, for those of you that are supporting the channel, let me see where we're at. I still need at least 10 of you all to do $12 and support the show today. I would really appreciate it. Oh my goodness, y'all. I guess since I didn't ask, y'all left me hanging today. Where we at? Let me see. Where we at? Okay, that's where am I at? I need 8 of you to send $12, please. I'm doing the math. I need 8 of you guys to send $12 and support the program. I would really appreciate it. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. I'm trying to tell you the truth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have said my piece on this. If you've been a leader in church, you've been an adjutant, you've been an armor bearer, these are just disgruntled adjutants, armor bearers, and folks who had to assist preachers and who got called out in the annual conference and in the annual meeting, and they have just not gotten over it. They've been embarrassed. They were embarrassed by TD Jakes. TD Jakes walked by Tim Anderson to go into another room, and it caused Tim Anderson to just get all discombobulated. I bet you anything this was not the only ass that Tim Anderson saw. I guarantee you it wasn't. And from the sound of the way the Hugga Gugga church was going, all y'all was doing a whole bunch of stuff over there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. I'm going to drop the link for those of you who want to come up. I'm going to give you that opportunity because I always do. You guys can speak about your past experiences as armor bearers, adjutants, and so forth. But I'm here to tell you, this is some bull. Now, if you think my theory is off, you're more than welcome to share that you think my theory is off. But Duane Youngblood got called out in 2003, 2004, and was told he didn't know who he was, and the people around him didn't know who he was. He was upset about it. He's mad. He's been mad about it, and that's why he finally put that in that document. Because you notice we never saw that in any other document, right? He never talked about the fact that the Sherman Watkins and this, he mentioned this facilitated meeting, but whose room was it in? Was it in Sherman Watkins' room, or was it in Bishop T.D. Jakes' room? So you're trying to tell me if it was in Bishop T.D. Jakes' room, the man that you said did all of this stuff to you gonna go meet with him in his hotel room? I wouldn't even have met Sherman Watkins in his hotel room based on what you're saying. That's how I know you're lying. This is some old church mess. That's what this is. This is some church mess is what this is. And I don't want to say, because I don't want to be rude to anybody out there that's in the LGBTQIA community. And please don't get offended about what I'm about to say. This is some messy church queen mess. This is what this is right here. That's what this is right here. This is what this is right here. This is church queen mess. And these are a bunch of queens, what you're dealing with right now. And I forgot the other part about Richard Youngblood. I didn't even mention Richard Youngblood again, because Richard Youngblood, you're just full of mess. Y'all, shout out to all of you that are in the chat. Shout out to every single one of you. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. I really appreciate it. Can y'all get me to at least 300 likes, please? I would really appreciate it. Please fall out of the bushes and hit the like button. So that's my analysis thus far with this, but these people are full of stuff. This is a bedtime story. This is not people being honest and accurate. This is not people telling the truth. This is people just complaining, whining about something that has no business being in the public information sphere. We don't care that you got a potential kiss. We don't care that you gave some man, a big burly man, a hug. Y'all remember one of the documents, they call him a big burly man. You understand what I'm saying? This is what this is. You're just mad, Dwayne, and you should go somewhere and sit down and shut all the way up. And you're using your co-conspirators that got you in this hot water. And I don't foresee the judge just letting this case go by. I really do not. I don't see the judge doing that. I don't see the judge just simply letting you guys go. It's not going to happen. 1, 2, 3. I need 1, 2, 3, what, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 6. I need 6 of you now. We're down to 6 people. I need 6 of you to send $12. I can't even add tonight. I'm so tired. I'm traveling and doing all this stuff. You guys know what I did today? I got up at 3:30 this morning, and I started doing all my work. And I've been working on some stuff. And oh God, a lot of stuff wasn't working properly, and I had to go back and do some other stuff. But shout out to all of you that are supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. I need at least 6 more of you to send. We're reaching our limit. I know my phone's a little dirty, but I just want to show y'all where we're at. That's where we're at. I need 6 of you, probably 5 of you now. Let me see where I'm at. I need 5 of you to do at least $12, because you guys know I've been gone for a whole week. Let me see where I'm at. Oh, why doesn't this thing? Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I need 5 of you. Really, 6 of, no, is it 5 or 6? 6. I need 6 of you to do $12. Thank you, Shelby. I appreciate that. And I did drop the link for any of you that are trying to come up here and speak to me. You can do so. I want to hear your thoughts. You can disagree. You don't have to agree with me, because I'm just trying to tell you, even if you disagree, I'm not telling you, listen, I'm not defending TD Jakes. I'm just telling y'all, this is some bull, what we're dealing with right now. That's all I'm saying. This is some bull. I know what this is. Because trust me, I've gone through stuff like this. I know what I'm dealing with. You little disgruntled little pansy wansy, you little peanut boys. What's wrong with you? Oh, was your little thong stuck in your behind? Is that what was so wrong with you? Oh, him downstairs. He's so upset. The bishop showed him his bottom. He jumped from one room to the other, and you saw the bishop's bottom. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. Y'all need to stop. I'm not playing these games with y'all. I'm just really not. We almost there, ladies and gentlemen. I need 5 more of y'all to do $12 and we're done for the night. We almost got there. 5 more. 5 more. What in the world? Did I do the math right? Oh, one of you gave me. Oh, I see why I'm doing this. Okay, because one of you did $10. I see. Well, thank you for your $10. I'm not gonna call your name. And guess what? I love you too. I know you are. I love you too. And I'm not gonna call your name. I love how y'all send and y'all say, "Don't call my name." That is so funny. And I'm just gonna say, I won't call your full name. Y'all got to start letting me at least call y'all last name or something, because I be trying to say thank you, and y'all never let me say thank you. I ain't gonna say nothing. Okay. Yeah, we had PE. I know we had PE, and we took showers too. And we was teenagers. We were and some, we were teenagers. We was almost grown, and we was still taking showers. And then in high school, you was damn near grown, and you was still taking showers. Okay. And here's another thing that gets me. Thank you, Shelby. I appreciate it. Here's the thing. Then you gonna tell me you saw a man's bottom, and that so traumatized you. Really? Really? A man's bottom traumatized you. I want y'all to get the logic of this. I bet you anything these niggas was watching Red Shoe Diaries. I bet you anything these niggas was watching Real Sex on HBO. I'm sure you was watching Emmanuel on Showtime. So you saw a man's bottom and it just destroyed you, huh? Interesting. I just dated myself, didn't I? I know I did. Negroes, please. Because when I did start watching TV, I watched TV. Okay. So don't. And I'll tell you, I was watching a show at my sister's house that took the breath right out of me. It did take the breath out of me at first. I think it was called, what's it called? Made in Black, or All in Black, or Black Beauty, or something like that. It's made by Tyler Perry. It's a Tyler Perry show. It might be called All in Black. It's called All in Black, I think. I think it's called All in Black. It's on Netflix. The man was, doing his business, hitting it from the back, and I thought he was having sex with a woman. And the woman come around the corner. Because when I tell you this brother was thrusting, he was thrusting. And the camera angle switched up. And the woman told the man, if you don't get your nasty behind out of here. And I sit back on the couch and I say, oh my God, that was a man. Tyler Perry, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Christine Park said part 2 is coming out in March. Listen here, that show is something else. Shocked me. When I tell you it shocked me, it left me speechless, because I had never seen that on television, not between two men. I was like, what the devil? We have really entered into it. We've entered into a different time, ladies and gentlemen. That is the truth. I just want to tell you. Blew me out the water. I don't know if I told Christine and all of y'all that when I saw that. I probably did, knowing me. I could tell y'all everything. Blew me out of the water, y'all. Blew me out the water. That's all I'm saying. But shout out to all of you that are in the chat, and shout out to all of you that are supporting the channel. I appreciate it. So none of y'all too scared to talk to me tonight. All right. I'm gonna let y'all go on and be scared. I need 3 more of y'all to send $12, please. I'll just leave it alone at 3 more, so that way we can get out of here. But my dear Lanton, listen here. Yeah, that's right. It's called Beauty in Black. Thank you. Who told me this? Pamela. Yeah, it's called Beauty in Black. Let me tell you. Pamela, I was in complete shock. I'm thinking this man is thrusting. So I'm like, oh man, he got this chick. He got this chick bent over. That woman come from around that corner. Angie from All My Children. Because see, every time I look at it, that's the only thing I can think of is Angie from All My Children. Angie from All My Children come around that corner. She told that man, she said, get your nasty behind out of here. She didn't say nasty behind. I said, oh my God, that's a dude. I was in shock, Pamela. Pamela, it took the breath out of me. So, but guess what? I didn't die. I'm not so traumatized that I'm not going to be able to get my remote and turn back to Netflix. Oh, Angela, it's not something that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. Somebody said, oh, well, that's because you wasn't in the same room, Marcellus. Listen here. You don't know like I know all the crap that I've had to experience and endure. I done walked through some rooms and been like, Jesus, help us all. Just help us all. Jesus, help us all. I'll just leave my comments there. I'll leave my comments there. Y'all need to stop. Y'all don't understand. And these crying, whining ass adjutants, stop whining. And all you ministers, you little pansy-wansy ministers who can't go through nothing and can't be reprimanded, stop whining, because we had to go through a whole lot worse than some of you. And that's for sure. I know some people that the preacher got up, the bishop got up and told them to get out the pulpit, walk your tail down to the floor and go sit down. And they had to do it and sit there while he preached and went on about their business. Okay? I'm just saying, they will embarrass you and you had to deal with the embarrassment. You didn't get to get up and start complaining and whining because as far as I'm concerned, Dwayne, you and your brother are just some whiners. And I couldn't see that at first until I read this thing. And I said, oh, you know what this is? These are some disgruntled church queens. Oh, he went by me and I saw his buttocks. I saw his buttocks and I am just, oh my goodness, it changed my trajectory in ministry. Ass did that to you? It so devastated you because you saw TD Jakes' behind? First of all, you know what that lets me know? TD Jakes should have vetted you all a whole lot better. He should have vetted you all a whole lot better. That's what he should have done. Yeah, the whole thing is a money grab. I agree with you. The whole thing is a money grab. And it's actually quite disgusting. That's all I'm saying. It's actually quite disgusting. That's all right. I appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to all of you that have supported the channel. I still need 3 of you. If you guys, if I can get at least 3 more of you, we finally made it up. We haven't hit our goal yet, just so you know. I'm not making it up. Because if 12 people send $12, you don't get $70. All right. So if you got, I'm just because y'all know I don't do funny business over here. But if I can get 3 more of y'all to send $12, that'll be fine. If you're watching the replay and you want to support the channel, please make sure you do so. The Cash App information will be in the description for you below. I have done my job tonight. I appreciate every single one of you. I realize that it's late on over there on the other coast. It says, I remember a time when the pastor read off all the bills the church had to pay, had paid for a brother. He tried to propose to a woman during the testimony service. Oh, you think that's bad? Listen here, Irene. There was a young man that was in our church, at Church of the Harvest, and he kept going around trying to act like he was going to trying to marry like one of the women in the church, but he ain't had no job. So I got up one Sunday. I said, oh, wait a minute. We don't marry. You don't marry men with no jobs. No. And you don't come here to the church always begging and asking for somebody to give you a holy handshake in order for you to make it through the week because you too lazy to go get a job. No, sir. No, ma'am. Go get you a job. Go get you a job and go to work. Okay, because we're not going to be asking these women to fund your lifestyle. And was he upset? Highly upset that he got called out, but I sure called him out. No, go get you a job. Oh, he was embarrassed. I don't think he ever spoke to me again, and I don't give a darn. You know why? Because that's the kind of foolishness that they let these people get away with. And that's one of the reasons why you have crazy vloggers and people who ain't never had no job, that the only thing they can do is come out on social media and sit up every freaking day from sun up to sundown and making these darn videos. And folks is going from one chat to the other chat to the next chat to the round the chat. It's crazy. And then when I come on and I try to tell you some truth and give you a different perspective that you're not going to know of, then they go, oh, you just think you know everything. No, I don't think I know everything, but I think I know this thing. I think I know something. And one thing that I'm quite sure of is that a lot of this stuff that you all are reading, you're not seeing it the way that it needs to be seen. That's just the way I feel. It is what it is. Shout out to all of you that are in the chat. I appreciate and love every single one of you. Thank you for those of you that have Cash App and supported the show. I think I might have just gotten my next 3. Let's see. Did we hit our last 3? I think we might be there. Uh-oh. We're almost there. 2 more of you, and then we've almost gotten it. We won't have our total goal, but I'm getting out of here anyway. I ain't gonna wait. God bless you. I appreciate every single one of you. Love every single one of you. Y'all make sure y'all keep praying for Mad Church Disease. I'm gonna be back in the morning. It'll be mid-afternoon for some of you guys. We're gonna do our trending topics tomorrow in the morning. I'm going to talk about Leandria Johnson and some other things. So y'all get ready. That show will be scheduled probably before I go to bed tonight. And I'll see you guys for tomorrow's program at tomorrow night's chat as well. So I love and appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so very much. And let me see where y'all at, because I didn't see nobody come up. Let's see where we're at here. All right. Love every one of you. Thank y'all for tuning into the show tonight. Y'all be good, and y'all make sure that y'all come back tomorrow to help me with my trending topics. All right. I love you guys. Thank y'all so very much. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. Please make sure that you hit the like button, and please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit the bell icon, and make sure you press all notifications so that way you will never miss any of the exclusive content that comes on my channel. Make sure that you never miss a video. Now, I try to go live every day about 2:30 Pacific Standard Time, which is about 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, and then I come back at night at around 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, which is about 10:30 Eastern Standard, with some more exclusive content. So if you want more Mad Church Disease show content, we love for you to become a member, a revolutionary member of our channel. Please make sure that you hit the join button that's right next to the subscribe button or somewhere around here, so that you guys can receive access to special community posts. You guys get all of the access to my community only lives, because we've got some sipping chats that we're going to be doing, and you guys will get exclusive content. So just make sure that you head on over to the channel page, click on the join button, and make sure that you do that. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate your love and support, and I'll see you on my very next video.